Hello everyone, Jim from Ohio here, and I want to talk with you today about a common household problem that can really get out of hand if you don't take care of it. You can see here in the driveway we've got our typical driveway cracks, and over time they get filled up with dirt and they start growing weeds in them. Well, that's kind of hard to take care of, but that's not the worst part of it. What can happen is if these cracks are larger or over time as it rains and water runs down through the cracks, if you don't have proper drainage at your property, what can happen is this. You see, last year we had a major problem with the driveway, and we've got really big cracks. The cracks in the driveway in some places are almost an inch wide, and the previous property owner did nothing to ever fill those cracks. They just had dirt and weeds and stuff over time. What had happened is water would seep down into those cracks below the driveway, or in a lot of cases they would run down a central crack like this. And over time, because our property is on a slope and the driveway runs downhill towards the house, all of that water that was going under the driveway was accumulating in this area right here. And also it was going under the garage floor. So when we bought the house, this entire section, you see we have a new section of garage floor here that goes 8 feet into the garage. And then we had to pour 12 feet of driveway out here and install a driveway drain, or a trench drain, with a drain tile that exits here. It goes across the yard, around, and actually to the back of the house where we have a drainage ditch. But if you don't take care of this, it can result in major problems like we've experienced here. And so you really need to stay on top of this and get this taken care of before it gets as bad as it got at our property. So what I'm doing with this is I've got a tool that looks like this. This is a weed popper tool, and what I'm doing is I'm just running it down through the crack, and I'm scraping as much of that dirt and soil and weeds out as I can. I'm gonna try to get all of that out, and depending on how wide the cracks are, you may have to take different steps with it. So let me show you what the entire process looks like, and we'll go over what I'm doing here. So we'll follow one of these larger cracks, which I did fill this crack last year, but then I ran out of the material that I'm filling it with that I'll show you in just a moment. So I'm finishing it up this year. But where you have these large cracks like this, after you get them all cleaned out with that weed popper tool, what I do is I just take a blower, a leaf blower or a driveway blower like this, and then I blow the entire crack out, and I clean it out as good as I can, getting all of the weeds, any loose gravel, any sand, whatever is in there. I get that all cleaned out. And then on the edges where the crack is open, what I do is I just take a piece of tape. I'm just using the painter's tape, and I've got it tucked in to create a dam. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill this area, and we don't want the filler material to run out through the end there. So the stuff that I'm using, it's really good stuff. It's not the cheapest stuff, but this stuff does work really well, and it dries pretty quick. I'll leave a link in the video description below on where you can pick this up for yourself. But I've got a big driveway, and then over in front of the pole barn I've got a parking pad over there, so I really needed a lot of this. Now last year I ordered 8 tubes, and it wasn't enough. I was able to do from this point of the driveway down towards the house, and then I ran out. So I picked up 2 more tubes to finish up what I have left. But what you do is I did buy the larger commercial tubes, and then I did pick up one of the larger commercial caulking guns to use it. but you just load it up in the caulking gun and you fill the crack. And that's what we're doing here. And then this stuff is a very gray material, the color of concrete, so you could leave it like that. But since it's daytime and I know I'm going to be going somewhere later on, and I may have some company dropping over, I didn't want this stuff to just sit loose and open where if somebody drove over it, it would stick to their tires and drag it everywhere. So what I did, I just took some concrete leveling sand, and then after I filled the crack in with the sand, with the goop there, I just went ahead and sprinkled some of the sand over top of it. And we'll let that sit for a little while just to protect it. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, I'll come back with the blower and dry this stuff, or blow it off, and then what is stuck into the goop will remain, and it'll basically be a color like that right there. But yeah, very, very important step. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run. It's not an expensive fix, so it is something that you should do before it does turn into an expensive repair. Now with the larger cracks, so that you don't want to have to fill a very, very large crack like this with that glue, because it will fill up pretty quick. So they sell this material right here. It's just kind of a neoprene rubber, and this is just called closed cell backer rod. And this is what it looks like, and it's just like a foam material in a round shape, and this does come in different widths. I bought the 3/4 inch width, and what you do is you just take that and stuff it down into the crack, stuff it in everywhere that you're going to put the filler material, and then it's just going to kind of close up the bottom of that and take up some space, and then you just come behind and put the glue over top of the backer rod, and the glue seals the backer rod into place, and then everything should be watertight. You shouldn't have any problem with the water getting underneath the concrete anymore and then running underneath the driveway, creating this problem. It will run on top of the driveway now, and it'll go down to where the trench drain should catch everything and just send it back to our drainage ditch. So hope that's helpful. I hope you learned something from it. Like I said, it is a worthwhile project that you should take on your own. Let's go ahead and start putting some of this glue into this next crack that I have prepared up here. So this crack is about a little less than a 1/2 inch wide, so I'm not going to try to put any of that backer rod down into here. Here I'm just going to take this stuff and just start filling in the crack till I get all the way down to the end. Once I get all the way down to the end, I'm just going to take that sand material and cover it up. So real simple, real easy to do. Okay, so I've got this crack all filled in, and the dam is holding that all in place down there so it doesn't leak out. And now I just go behind and sprinkle a very light coating of this topping sand on top of it. And looking at how wide this crack is and how wide that crack is over there, I do think I'm going to use that backing rod over there, just so that I don't have to use as much of the glue as I did in this portion of the crack. And then we'll go behind and fill in over top of that backing rod with the glue. Then I'll have a little more glue left over to do some of the areas over there. Okay, so what I'm doing with this crack, I attempted to put that backer rod down into it, but as I mentioned before, the backer rod that I bought, it comes in different sizes, but I only had the 3/4 inch size That's what I purchased. But my crack here is less than a 1/2 inch. So what I did is I just took a razor blade and I split that backer rod. It's a cylindrical or rod shape material. So I just ran a razor blade down it and split it in half. And then I jammed it down in the crack, and I'm using a screwdriver to push it down. So it fills up more of that gap, so it shouldn't take as much of the glue material or the filler material to put on top of it. So I've got that running all the way down to the end. So let me go ahead and fill in the rest of the crack with the glue, and then we'll go ahead and just top it, and then we'll blow it off and we should be good. Okay, so now this side is done, and I can't tell you how much the backer rod makes a difference. The glue is self-leveling, so once you let it sit, it will kind of ooze down into the cracks, and you may have to go back and fill some spots that go down deeper than you planned. But when you put that backer rod down in there, it really fills that gap good. And I used probably 3 times more glue on this side than I did on this side. But everything should work good. I know that I used the backer rod down the entire middle crack last year, and it's held up really well. So now all I have to do is go back, and we're going to get noisy here, but we just have to blow off all the excess sand. And this is what it looks like when we're all finished. So I'll go ahead and blow this off camera, and that's another project done and in the banks, and the driveway should be good for this year and many more to come. So this is Jim with Jim Jenny, Ohio. I hope you've learned something. As I mentioned before, I'll leave a link in the video description down below for where you can get the glue that I used, as well as the backer rod material. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.